third ever, or is this fourth now? Would it be our
Third.
fourth?
Third, I
Third,
think. Yeah.
third ever Scuttle Crabbers podcast. I am joined here with by Nitro Dax, who kind of lost his voice a little bit. We got SpiritTracks, and we got our guest Young Trendsetter. So, got anything to say? Any greetings?
Uh,
Anybody?
hello.
Yeah.
Welcome
What's up?
back to, yeah, surprised
Back to
you
the
want to hear
grind.
me talk some more. Like,
Everyone's like, we just tune in for SpiritTracks like
I mean,
angelic voice.
I know that's why Stormblade shows up, so,
It's
like,
it's your voice.
yeah. What can I say?
We have a lot to talk about, boys. We really
Yeah,
do.
it was a good week this week.
Yeah, I was about to say a lot of 2-1s, which is what I like to see. I like to see I like to see less 3-0 stomps, and I like to see, contested series.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, every once in a while seeing a 3-0 stomp can be like, kind of like, all right, better
Yeah.
team is suspect, but like really like everyone wants the 40-minute bangers, the
Yeah.
2-1s, the deciding game threes. Like that's what's exciting.
Except when Nitrodax is casting and every game is 45 minutes, then then those bangers are like, oh, he's like, I gotta go to sleep. Funny.
Yeah.
Hey man, I got a job, okay?
No, I get it. I felt bad for you, and I think they were taking time in between games too, and I was like, oh, this isn't the best.
That's okay. I had Jazz with me, giving
Yeah.
me support.
Didn't Soundwave's internet go out too?
I think it was a tornado warning or
It was a
something.
tornado warning for Soundwave.
Should have had the tornado hit you, so you could go to sleep.
They're like, oh guys, oh it,
Oh
like, that's
no,
what-
there's
what
a
to do.
tornado in Florida.
Oh, no.
Tsunami or hurricane or whatever you guys have down there.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't get natural disasters where I live, so I don't know.
You
Out of
just say you
excuses.
fell asleep. That's it.
I mean, I'm also West Coast though too, so it's like I'm falling asleep at like 7 o'clock. Like, I mean, maybe.
All
but-
right. So now that we got introductions out the way, quick recaps. My series, LLW versus Rev. This wasn't streamed. We had to do this early because Storm is gonna go see family this weekend, and he should be back. I hope he had a nice time with his family, and I really want to wish him happiness. So, you guys see the games right there. How they were when we played them. I I don't know. It felt kinda. Game one was kinda not close. Like we may have like made one mistake play or two mistake plays, but that was it. When we weren't really punished for it. Soka whipped out the Karthus jungle, which I think is an ELU first.
Mhm.
I like the Karthus jungle. Like I just said about Rev before we went live, they need to just do better at taking advantage of the other team's mistakes, because they do make the wins sloppy sometimes, where they can just get these kills randomly out of nowhere, but they don't do anything with the kills they get. They'll get like a pick off in a side lane and just go, and then just like resume the game as if nothing happened and not push the advantage. It's kind of strange, but they mechanically, I see, upsides for that team, but just macro wise they have a lot to work on.
Yeah, so like I see in game one, in the gold graph, they were actually ahead by 1,500 gold at 15 minutes. I mean, so yeah, they're finding these leads, they're finding these picks, but then like same happened in week one when they played us, when they had a huge lead, but they lost objectives, they didn't play the mid game well, and it ended up just like slowly bleeding out, and that's what it looked like. Probably around 15 minutes, 16 minutes, the gold completely evened out, and then it was just skyrocketed in the other direction. It seems like once like lanes are kind of over, they kind of struggle and are either mispositioning around objectives or giving over kills or towers, and they just throw some gold leads. So I mean, again, we keep saying this every week, like they have the hardest schedule so far. But I mean, if like all the teams are doing pretty well, so far. So it's like if they don't fix that stuff up, it's gonna be kind of rough for them.
I mean, let me throw out a scenario that probably isn't realistic, but like let's just give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's say they get through these top like 4 teams, the best 4 to 5 teams in the league, and then they win all their games on the back half of the stretch. They do technically probably make playoffs. Like, I know that's not realistic, but the playoffs are not out of the question for this team, you know?
Yeah, I mean they only have to beat 2 teams in the standings.
exactly.
And honestly, turning that around, right now, I think the 2 lower teams, or the 7th and 8th team have 2 wins, and they have 3 wins. So if they can just kind of start ramping up, they're not that far behind. Seeing as though we're only 3 weeks in, they do have time, and they do have the ability, but they just need to fix some stuff up.
I believe
And
TKK has 3 wins because they took one off New York Mutants, which was pretty impressive, actually.
yeah. So Tad is 2-4, and TKK is 3-6.
Oh, yeah.
I had an interesting question in the chat here, actually. Which team is most likely to drop a game to Rev?
I think Tad and TKK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think down at the bottom, you look at those 2 teams, and while they are playing well in some games, like overall play is just a little shaky.
I think that thing with New York Mutants is on their best day they play insane, and then on their worst day they could probably lose to Rev. So I'm gonna throw them in there too. They're such an up and down roller coaster that I've seen so far.
I will say on that topic itself, I think if the American Dream play like how they played this series against Wardens of the North, they will definitely drop a game to Rev.
Yeah. Wardens are looking spicy. I like them. They're one of my dark
They're
horse
interesting, you know? They came
Yeah.
looking really bad week 1, looking a bit better week 2, and they finally get their first win.
Oh, I thought they won 2 series in a row. Did they not?
They did.
Yes.
But War versus TAT was an interesting series still.
Oh yeah. I was
Because
subbing it.
that was 2 subs on TAT.
Yeah, you're right.
And the games were
now
still very
now
close.
one sub just because Ace is now a permanent member. But yeah, I get what you're saying. At
Ace
the time
is
it
now
was
a
2
permanent
subs.
member. I think
not? I
no,
heard he
he
was.
is. No, I'm saying
Oh,
he
yeah.
is.
Oh, gotcha.
I think TAD, if they're having a very off day, will lose to them. I think TKK will drop a game. Do I think a top team that will drop games? It'd probably either be GCA or GCC.
I mean, well, it can't be us because we already played them. So
Oh,
just
yeah.
throw that out there.
I'm just saying.
We're safe. We're safe. We're safe. But yeah. I honestly, I do like. If you look at the second game in our first series, I think like they show that they definitely could have beaten us. So like if we were playing in like a couple weeks, I think there would be a chance. Yeah.
I honestly think they need to shore up their draft. Like I don't like their drafts at all. Honestly, not looking at it like compared to LLW and then this game, it's just total draft div, in my opinion.
Yeah, it looks like they're playing for comfort, which is good. But you have to like find some synergy between these comfort champions. Like LeBlanc Trundle it has a lot of damage early game, but like they don't really go well together around the mid game. LeBlanc and Gnar is kind of hard to play with if you don't have like the proper coordination. And I know that Fichi likes Gnar, but if you as a team don't like play around that well, then like if you don't play around the Gnar bar, it's gonna be a sunk pick.
Yeah. When you guys are done talking about the Rev thing, I have one question for you, the opposite direction. Whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Who do you think is most likely on the other side of the coin to take the first series off of LLW in the league? And you're not allowed to say nobody, Nitro.
Okay.
So
we're on a bye this week. Then LLW faces Wardens of the North. Then we
Wardens.
face TKK. Then New York Mutants. Then we face the American Dream. And then last week it's GCC.
I'm gonna say I think Wardens have a shot. I think Wardens and then if GCC can get their get their shit together by week 9, I think
Yeah.
there's a shot there.
There's a
As-
small shot with New York Mutants because, like what I said about the roller coaster, on their best week they're insane.
Yeah.
Worst week they're not great. So it depends on where the roller coaster is on that week.
Yeah, so I'd say I'd put War, then GCC, then NYM.
So you say, okay, so you say week 5, LOW has the best chance to lose.
Yes, I will go with that.
Young Trendsetta, what do you think?
I think GCC, honestly. I mean,
what's wrong
Okay.
with that?
you saw it in the scrim, right?
All right, well, I'm gonna throw that Leona mid was just too strong.
Yeah,
Like-
Leona mid with how you played it was really strong because you would have
Yeah.
Leona mid and Graves Perma mid. So
Yeah.
Victor couldn't farm.
Yeah.
No, if it would have been your regular mid laner, we probably would have won.
I mean, it's possible.
I honestly think War for sure. If they keep playing the way that they're playing, they're just gonna get better. So
Yeah, and I mean, scrims don't matter, but I know War did take a game off you guys in scrims. They also took a game off TPP. They look decent in scrims.
I mean,
Okay,
we always hear
if
this
we're
like
gonna-
scrims don't matter,
if we're
but like
gonna
I think
mention
scrims do
scrims-
matter.
Okay,
I
so
think they do. Yeah.
I
if
think
we're
it's
gonna
not
mention
like the
those
same.
scrims, hold on. If we're gonna mention those scrims, they did beat us because we tried out new picks. We felt
Yeah.
disrespected by their team captain. We beat them 30 kills to 3. We got all towers in the game, all objectives.
Yeah, no, I mean fair enough. But the game they took off TPP, it seemed like TPP was doing their regular picks. It
It's
looked
true,
like,
which was really shocking.
yeah. But anyway, I'm trying to talk up some of the middle. The thing
Honestly,
about this
like,
the thing
yeah.
about this league is so many of the teams are so close in skill level. It's hard.
I mean, we say middle, but like I'm pretty sure the middle is just like 90% of the league. Like you have LLW and
TPP.
TPP, which I think are like top 2 for sure. Until we see like a loss there, I think we can keep them up there. And then at the bottom we have Rev and maybe TAD if they don't figure some stuff out. And the middle is just everyone else.
Yeah, it's
You have some like people pushing the top and some pushing the bottom, but I think like that's just generally the middle.
You could flip the power rankings around in the middle and it wouldn't make a difference because they're all basically
I
as good
think
as each
like,
other.
Yeah, you could argue pretty much that.
Okay,
entire-
so
yeah.
let me ask another interesting question to all of you then. Will TPP drop another series?
I think so.
Yeah, I think they drop one more.
I think
at
that yeah,
least.
one, and then they go 2-1 in a couple more series.
So who's the series they drop? They
I think
are
they drop
go-
War, and I think honestly, I think they drop War, and I think GCC are the 2 best. Like again, right now, those are. And have they played GCA yet? I don't.
Yes.
They have not played GCA yet.
Oh wait,
So I think
did they not?
GCA. Yeah, they played GCA. GCA
yeah.
versus.
Yeah, I think GCA.
Oh,
still has-
TPP versus GCA is literally the last game
Yeah,
Oh,
that we
hey,
will
that'll
ever
be-
stream.
That'll
Yes.
probably be game of the week that week.
yeah.
That
So I think
is most likely. I mean, we got 2 good game of the weeks: LLW versus GCC and TPP versus GCA.
Well,
and
hey, there's
honestly,
always an under the radar game of the
yeah.
week.
Honestly, War versus TKK. Yeah, like so. I definitely think like it's up in the air, right? Like GCA is a good team. I think they got it. I think War and GCC are pushing.
Scalene said no. in the
No. All
chat.
right, Scalen. All right.
Oh, wait, I said
Scalene is just hitting them with the "we're not gonna lose again."
All right.
I like it. I like it. Okay, so another question. Actually, we're gonna move on to the series because it's relevant to this team. GCA versus New York Mutants. Man,
Yeah.
this
was-
was really sloppy League of Legends.
It's super funny to me. This series was super funny to me because it's like the first 2 games are just hard stomps, like in both directions, just like complete just blowouts. And then we see the 3rd game. It's like it's looking like a blowout. Like NYM's like has control. Like they're gonna win the game, and then something just happens, and they just can't close. And
I remember it.
Yeah.
I remember it exactly. It was
It's
Toasty
just-
Boy knocking up the Ziggs into the Echo Stun at their base defense, which saved them the game. If that Echo stun wasn't there, or the Nunu W wasn't there, Ziggs lives and kills the towers, and they end the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, this series was an absolute banger. One of many bangers this week, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I say GCA lose that game 9 out of 10 times again if we
Yeah,
replayed it.
yeah. So, I mean, like, I think, like, if we look at, like, a power ranking thing, I think you put NYM, like, and if you just look at the series, NYM's better team. They just made mistakes the third game. And they made, like, one or two mistakes that just threw the game. And good on GCC or GCA for coming back, but I think, like, again, like you said, 9 out of 10 times this is a 2-1 NYM win. I mean, that was a great game to watch. Like, it was, I mean, sloppy play on both sides, but, like, that kind of makes the game fun.
True.
Yeah.
First 40-minute games of ELU history, followed by the second and third, of course.
Mhm.
Because we, of course, have to have 40-minute games when Glorsnax is losing his voice.
Exactly.
I don't know. What did you think about this series, Young Trend?
I think everything the Spirit said, I agree with. It was a long game. I just think both teams don't really know how to close out all the way. I don't think they're comfortable, like, running with their lead.
Yeah.
GCA had, like, a big gold lead at 15 minutes. Like, you transition that and just keep pushing and, like, getting into their jungle and stuff. And I don't know. I just feel like they didn't know how to close their games out, which hopefully moving forward that they can. But I mean, to go 40 minutes right now in this meta, it's just, I don't know, seems
I
ridiculous.
think the issue for them was, like, you have a Nunu and you have Vayne. Like, Nunu is kind of like an early game, doesn't do great in the mid game, in the late game. And then Vayne, which is kind of the opposite. So you have these two champions that should, like, kind of cover each other's weaknesses, but I don't think they played around it well. Like, the Nunu just kept chain dying, and the Vayne didn't really do a lot. It was mainly, like, the Echo and the Gnar that kind of held things together. And I mean, I think that was good on them, but, like, they're not using the comp to, like, transition how it should. Because the Vayne did 19% damage. It was 5 and 6. Like, it's hard to play Vayne into, like, Ziggs and Nocturne. But I think there are just so many ways that, especially with Morgana, that you could play, like, aggressively with the Vayne in the mid game to, like, try to push your leads. Like, if you catch Ziggs in the side lane outside of a team fight that's Vayne, you should just kill it. If you know where Nocturne is, and I just don't think they used, like, it's kind of an awkward pick, because it also, like, really hampered their wave clear, which, and their ability to siege, which into the Ziggs, really just stalled the game out. And then on the flip side, you have these Ziggs, you have these Nocturne Aatrox, you should just be able to dive onto the backline, dive onto the Vayne. And if you do that, you should just be able to walk over the fight. But I mean, I look at this and it's just like, did either team really use their comp properly?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Young Trend, you are being told that the mic is kind of quiet.
Oh, okay. Is this better or no? Am I a little louder to you guys?
You seem fine to me, but I guess it's up to chat.
Yeah.
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 Also, are we doing MVPs of the series?
Yeah,
and stuff
We
like
do
that?
that impact players,
Ah,
so
yeah,
we
okay,
go
great.
back through, yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Sure.
I do think that, like Mikey said, on a good day, New York Mutants, they show up a lot better. I
Mhm.
do think that this series was a good telling that GCA has a lot of weaknesses, potentially, that can be exploited.
Mhm.
Because they did pick the Vayne mid, which was used to beat my team.
Well, it was a Vayne top. They did some weird lane swap thing, which I just did not look good at all. Like, that was a disaster.
Sorry, that was the lane swap. Yeah, I agree. The lane swap thing was an absolute disaster. But
Yeah.
I do like them going back to normal and I think we got a Flame Horizon this game. Yeah, Forever had 325 CS. Toad had 215, which is a Flame Horizon. I think Forever really stepped up game 3 as
Mm-hmm.
well,
He really
controlling
held it.
that
Yeah.
in early game impact as well, because to be honest, the rest of his team was not doing well.
Mm-hmm. Another thing, like I want to touch on, like I've been like hyping up Spanaway for the entire season. Like we played on in Scuff together, and so I know he's really good. But like I see him on Morgana, like he picks Morgana mid, he picks Morgana, and it just doesn't do it for me. Like his recon in game one was huge. Game two, like I don't think that game was his fault. I think the lane swap just kind of screwed them. And then, especially when he's on Leona, like Leona mid, Leona support, like no one give him Leona straight up. Like don't accept his bribes or you will lose. But then he plays Morgana. It just doesn't seem like it does anything. Just seems kind of limp. And I think so. Like if he's on like these like champs where it's like you're not like an enchanter really. You're like a anti. You're basically a black shield in a bind. And you don't really have that much agency. And so I think it just the team kind of hamstrings itself if they put him on that. Um,
So you're
yeah,
saying
I mean,
even more like engaged champions?
yeah, because like they picked no Morgana into the Leona. It's like Black Shield, like it's good into Leona, but like Leona just seems to do so much more in uh just around the map in fights. It's a lot tankier. Morgana is kind of just like you ult Zanya's. That's and make space. Like that's your playmaking ability outside of like hitting random binds. So I think yeah, you keep them like a Rakan, Leona. Again, no one give them that. Maybe you throw in like a Rel or a Nautilus. Just give them something to be able to like impact the map. I like the set against LOW. I thought the set was all right. It's kind of a niche support pick, but like again, like I think the Morgana, these low impact carries just aren't aren't doing it. I think like that's a big reason why the Vayne was just not really able to do a whole lot. They didn't play around the Morgana. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry if you heard a woman voice. That was my mother.
Uh,
I think in GCA versus New York Green Brothers, Mudkip and Hextech were playing the same role as ADC. How would you
Hmm.
compare their play styles? I would much rather have Hextech on my team than Mudkip.
I would agree.
Yeah. I don't know, it just seemed like Hextech just has more impact. You see like the first game on Jinx, again, like you look at these first two games and it's like so one-sided that it's hard to like compare. Like when the game is that one-sided as an ADC and it ends in like 25 minutes, like you can't do a whole lot if you're on the losing team. I mean, you can make some flashy plays, but in general, like your agency's gonna be super low. But you look at the third game, and Hextech on the Ziggs just seemed to do so much more um, than the Vayne. Like I know Vayne, like I said, Vayne was it's a hard pick to play well, but I think there were just more options. Like if there should have been more options for the Vayne, and Mudkip was just wasn't finding them. Um, so yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I agree. I think how
that
Hextech's positions is a lot better than Mudkip's as well, where he doesn't put himself in these bad fights.
Yeah,
I
that
feel
being
like
said, well, I'll get to it in impact players. I actually think Mudkip this series specifically went off.
Yeah, in game one, especially played very well. Like his team got him a lead, he used it. He used it well. But in game two and game two can't do a whole lot. The entire team just lost. But game
Yeah,
three, it was. I just honestly, I think the pick kind of hamstrung him. Like I said, it was Spanaway. The Morgana was kind of weird. I think picking Vayne. I don't know if they picked it into Ziggs. Like you can get those like side lane kills, but in team fights or like around objectives, it's just so hard to play because Ziggs occupies so much space with his minefield, with his satchel, this ult. Like as a short range ADC, a single target short range ADC, that you're gonna have a hard time.
Yeah, I just don't think it was good into Aatrox Nocturnes. That like, I feel like you could play with a lot more different picks.
Like honestly, like those are scary champs, but like something like I don't know, a Xayah, they picked that game too. It didn't go so well, but like you can dodge the Leo ult, the Ziggs ult, the Nock ult, the Zed ult. Like it's just something with a bit more range and like harder peel. Like Vayne has the self peel with the invisibility, the condemn, but I mean you got if you just die or get feared, with because your range is so short, it's just kind of tough.
Sorry about that. My cat's acting up.
Hmm.
All right.
There.
So, anything else about GCA New York Mutants?
Didn't you say you had a question for about this one? Like at the end of LLW Rev, you said, "Oh, I have another question, but let's move on." Because
I was gonna say, do you think that the New York Mutants that we saw Game 2 can take on anybody in the league?
I mean they played very well, but honestly, I chalk this up to a loss rather on GCA, rather like more than a win on New York Mutants, because I think like the lane swap was a disaster. Like I think that totally just through the game. Like I think if they kept normal lanes, I think it could have gone a lot better. Um, maybe NYM still hard stomps it, but I think the lane swap was just a terrible idea, and that really just threw the game for GCA before it even started.
Yeah, I mean, like I just keep saying, I do think New York Mutants could take down the top teams at any given point. I just don't think they always bring their A game.
Yeah.
It looks Solomon Khan will either go like look at his game 3 where he just went off, or I mean he usually goes off, I suppose. But I don't know, or he does like what he did in game 1, which wasn't the biggest impact.
Yeah, so like I see like a lot of like um junglers in this league. You have like huge pop-off games, and then you have like a 1-in-8 Nocturne game or a 1-in-8 Kane game where you just kind of like I said it like in our game this week, like the Nocturnes, like if we get him behind, he just turns into an int missile, like or Kane, like he's just in the wall and he's just like so yes, like when you play these like champions that like Kane, like Olaf, like Nocturne, where you're like you need these like items, or else like when you go in you just die. You you have to play very well. And sometimes like you make a mistake in the early game and you just get rolled. And
Yeah, I
that
think that's my
happens. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, that happened. That's happened a couple games to a couple junglers. We saw it, I think it was last week. We had a Nocturne just go like 2 and 12 or something and just ulting in and dying. I think it was a Tad game. Um, or yeah, Tad versus TKK. Fit 6 Nocturne just went uh just in and died. So it you get these bad games, and it's was it fixed? I don't know. I can't remember, but yeah.
That's one of my huge issues with like champs like Kha'Zix and Nocturne is yeah, they're strong, I get it, but the problem is if you're not taking the kills early, you basically have to KS all the kills. Otherwise, you're kind of useless because if you don't get ahead early, you're just an int bot. Like
Yeah.
especially on, I mean on both those champs really,
hmm
but I like them and I get that both those champs can carry games hard. It's just it it's not a team pick necessarily. I mean it can be, but I don't know. That's just my opinion.
I actually, so for the Nocturne, if you're gonna play it, I think it pairs really, really well with the TF.
Yeah, that happened to us.
Yeah, I'm gonna speak on that. Yeah, that was like really, really good comp wise. But other than that, Nocturne, you're just kind of flying in there, like engage. But if you have globals and stuff, it's really good to pair with him. But I feel like they didn't have the globals to go with Nocturne or the dive to go with him. So.
Well, they did
kinda,
do Nocturne TF.
yeah.
Well, no, with War.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Nocturne TF.
Yeah, I'm saying that's really, really good when you pair Nocturne with TF. Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
But like just stand alone by himself, you need to pair him with some good mid laners.
Okay, yeah, I see
support him.
what you're saying. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
I was phasing out. I just came back. Because I was gonna say, yeah, because you have Zed Nocturne.
Which, yeah, it's like I guess they're both dive champs, but they dive in very different ways. Nocturne is just like you dive, you like get in there, you create chaos, and Zed's like, all right, I see the ADC, I'm gonna combo him, and then I'm gonna peace out.
Right.
And so it's like you Nocturne's just back there alone. Maybe you kill the ADC, but Nocturne's back there alone. If there's the ADC isn't the primary threat, or there's another threat, then the fight's still a 4v4, and you lose one of your initiators and maybe like one of your bruiser front lines. So it's like it can still be rough. And in this game, yeah. I guess if we're done with this one, I kind of want to touch on Nocturne on the next series. So if anyone has anything
Yeah,
else.
I'm all good with this series.
Yep,
I'm good. I think that this was one of the best League of Legends we saw. And now to TKTA versus Tad.
Yeah, so thing I want to say about like Nocturne in this, first of all, like Tad is still doing weird stuff with their roster, which is kind of shaky to me. Maybe like Sunny didn't play game one, so might have been just he wasn't available, so they moved stuff around. Um, but um, game the Nocturne pick, game two and game three, like I think this is a very good showing of how Nocturne should be utilized. Um, I think Sunny D he was on Camille or Urgot and he died in the side lane probably like 14 times. He died 24 times in 2 games, and I think they were like 14 of them were in sidelines, just getting picked off randomly. And then a lot of that came from Nocturne ulting in, and like Poppy just getting on top, Nocturne ulting in, shoving him to wall, and they just burst him down. Or in game two, you have like Ken and Nocturne ults. And so I think using like these like top laners, especially like in the side lane, like that can like hold someone down and just let Nocturne beat them. Because Trendsetter talked about like TF Nocturne, you have these double globals that you can attack side lanes with. I think if you have a top laner who has CC and can hold someone down while the Nocturne just hurts, beats them up, that's another great way to play it. And they did it very well. TKA did it very well against Tad this series. And part of that I think was just Sunny just being like, I'm just gonna try the solo carry. I'm gonna be in the sideline, split pushing, drop pressure, and then you guys can get objectives. And he just wasn't respecting it. He wasn't playing good League of Legends. Like I know he like won them the third game by like 3v1ing in the top lane, but like other than that, like there was very few good plays there. And I think like again, that's another reason like why you have Tad so low. It's because one, they can't um their rosters shaken up, and two, like Sunny like is not playing how we expected him to.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of true. At least TAD's taking games off people. That's nice to see. They definitely need to figure out what they're doing as a team, but like unless they just want to keep doing this where they play everyone plays every position, in which case kind of funny, but I don't know.
Yeah,
It,
I mean, yeah,
yeah, but they're taking games. But TKK, they've won their third game in the last 2 weeks, so that's nice. Won their first series, so yeah, I expect to see big things out of them in the future. Oh, I guess I was gonna give my. We don't talk about MVPs yet. Never mind. Forget that. But yeah, this series was a banger, but it was also like riddled with horrible gameplay. But it was a banger.
yeah. I mean, I looked at it. I'm like TKK. They played very well in like the second game and the third game. They were picking off side laners. They were like doing all this, and then like the third game, like something just like they just didn't do anything. Like they were just getting these picks, and then nothing would happen. Like we kind of talked about it with Rev. It's like they get these kills and then they just play like nothing happened. I think Nitro, you talked about like they were like 20 kills up or something, and they were up like 1,000 gold or 2,000 gold or something like that. And it's like they're not taking advantage of these kill leads that they're getting, and it's just kind of making games way closer than they should be.
Okay,
Yeah.
to be fair, it was the Sunny D Hull breaker diff, I guess. Because Sunny had like 10,000 gold up more. Hypothetically, what would be the best roster for Tad?
I say keep Sunny top
Yeah,
personally. I mean,
You just anything with Sunny top.
I'd say Sunny top. I think you keep Dream to me mid. Jungle is where someone goes,
You
and
go
then
like Cherise, or you go Ace Up My Sleeve.
yeah,
one
and
of those
then
two.
Then you have
they
Asian support, and then Ace Up My Sleeve or Captain Miner in the ADC.
yeah, that's something that also confused me. They swapped their ADC and support for game 3. I mean they won, but like it wasn't because of the bot lane. Like I don't. Maybe it was just because they wanted the Caitlyn pick, and I'm Asian plays Caitlyn and Captain Miner doesn't. But like
Well,
I don't
game
know.
3 they said they were just messing around.
Oh, okay. Then that makes sense. But
And they won.
I guess like
They
I
just
mean,
need to mess around more. I
yeah, I
suppose.
guess you just mess around.
Well, when I subbed for them game 3 last week and we ended up winning game 3, that was our mess around game 2 where we were just like, let's just, and they put, I was just like, let me take jungle, Sunny go back up top. We were just messing around and we ended up stomping. So we ended up stomping the Wardens. So it was just fun. It's just funny that when they play loose, they actually play better.
All right, yeah, I guess then that's like just like
That's their secret
play,
formula.
yeah, play with less pressure, I guess. Like I guess if you're just like taking it, I guess they play mess around a bit more. They like don't aren't as stressed. Like that can help. So I guess that's the move. Mess around in game 1 instead of just game 3. See what happens.
Yeah.
I don't have much to say about this series. I think TKK, they get their first series win, which is good
Yeah.
for them. I think that will help make a conversation for them as a possible 6 seed, especially with Fitz sick. And we saw basically their full roster. And I think they played very well. Game 2 especially. I mean, yes, these games drag out. I mean, the first game didn't end until 40 minutes, when they could have ended 15 minutes beforehand. Game 2 was 42 minutes. Didn't have to be that long. Game 3 was 37 minutes. That was just Sunny. That was the only reason why Game 3 is a loss, is because Sunny was on Urgot.
Yeah, I mean,
I will agree with Nobody's point in chat. At least with Donut on the team, they had an identity because Donut was always their jungler, and he did pretty well. Now they don't know. Now their jungler is between 3 different champs on TAD. Just up in the air.
yeah. Yeah, in terms of TKK, I think we're gonna find out a lot about like how good they are next week. They play us, GCC, and
nice.
which I mean, GCC's been pretty high rated, but like we haven't seen a lot. Like we saw against Rev, we saw 2 games, and then we had a bye week, and then like this next game we're gonna talk about against War, that was us. So you have there's 5 games to look at, and like it's kind of hard to know, right? Like are we a good team? Are we not? We've had 5 games. Like who knows? I think we're good, but like I mean maybe TK steps up and they beat us, and like if they do, I think that really like shows that like yeah, the first 2 weeks or so, there's just some struggles, maybe getting some nerves out of the way, and now they've like hit their groove. So I think like next week, I think it's on Saturday, like that'll really like show how TKK is doing as a team. Like, are they a contender? Are they just like a 6th place, 5th place, maybe even 7th or 8th?
Yeah. So TKK played GCA week 1, right? And it was a 3-0, right? But
yeah,
one thing I'll say about TKK, they won pretty much by the time laning phase was over. They won pretty much every lane. Like every lane they were winning in CS and kills. It's just they couldn't translate it to anything. So I think they even looked good against a top team. They
I
needed
think
to work on their mid to late game.
15 minutes they were even every single game, and then after that they just kind of, I wouldn't say fell apart, but kind of bled out. I would say.
Yeah. Well, but yeah, at least they're starting to win games now, and I think there'll be a big challenge for you guys. But I think you guys should do well, obviously.
Of course. I mean, of course. But yeah.
Anything else on this series, or should we move on to?
What do you think about this year's Young Trend?
This is the one I didn't catch, so I can't really commentate too much to it.
Okay,
So.
that's fine.
I will say that I do love TKK's solo lanes when Sunny D's top and Dream to Me is mid. I think they're both strong players. So
That's Tad.
That's Tad.
oh,
That's
it's
the other
Tad.
way.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, but I think they're both strong, and I think if you're gonna play, if you're Tad, I would play around those lanes and like try to get them ahead and snowball from there if you want to start picking up wins. So, but
So I'm looking at something interesting here. I don't see one War versus GCA or no. What team is Lucian?
War.
War. Yeah, War versus GCA. I don't see them on the schedule.
War-
Yeah, it's the second to last week.
Week 8, I
Okay.
think. Or yeah, or
GCA
it's
versus War. Okay.
the last game we
My
did.
bad. My bad.
Yeah.
It's
So I think
December. Damn, you
yeah.
already recognized it, huh, Slushy? What, you wrote it down as a special date? The 999 battle. That's true. That's a really good one.
That's true.
Okay, GCC versus Wardens of the North. That is why Slushy is in chat. So, I got 2 members of GCC right here. Hey, boys.
Yeah.
How was that?
So game 1, my view on it, we had a lead. We were up 1500 gold at 15 minutes, and then we threw at Dragonfight. We tried for this engage, and then we just messed it up, like just flubbed it, like whiffed. And then after that, we just kept trying, and we just behind, and we just weren't doing it well. We didn't play well. I think the game, like the type of engage we were trying was we had a Kennen, we had Echo, we had these flanking champions, and we just didn't do it properly. And then and it was just bad into their team. Like they have Zach Urgot, they just jump like if they were flanking, they're just like, all right, well we'll just go the other way. We'll just go after your front. So I think once we got behind, it was just like almost impossible. And we had like I played pretty bad bot lane, which was another issue. Like we didn't have the consistent like AD damage that we needed to get through the Zac the Urgot. So I think game 1, like that was just rough. Game 2, I think was better. We decided like, all right, let's go with this late game fight. We had the front line, we have Aphelios scaling, and I think like we lost early game, but we like pulled it back. I think we played pretty well then, towards the mid late game. Then game 3, I think we just went away from what worked. We picked this early game comp, needed to get ahead, and they played around it super well. The Nocturne TF just shut us down.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, what was your idea of drafting Lucian Nami, right? Of course, going for the strongest bot lane. Lemowski goes airy, not electrocute. So you lose about 100 points of damage there. And then you go Kiana mid.
In terms of the airy, I do think it's worse than Electrocute and Guardian, but I don't think that was the issue. I think honestly they just played better in lane. The Aphelios Thresh, like even if we did have Electrocute, I don't think it really would have changed much. Honestly, I think they just played better in lane. They played around us very well. And yeah. In terms of Kiana, I think that was more of like a mid jungle thing. Trent, if you have something to say about that, I don't know. I don't have much to say about the Kiana.
yeah,
I think that's just a comfort pick.
yeah. So, like I said, like at the start, as a team, we really haven't put a lot of time together. So, or play a lot of games together, I should say. So we're trying to be on more comfort picks rather than like picking what's good in certain scenarios. So like the Kiana pick, Aries is like really comfortable with Kiana, and we wanted him to snowball from the second game of playing Yone, so giving him something that he's comfortable with, the Kiana, and plus it's a flex in jungle. But I don't think it's that great of a jungler right now, or in that series. So we kind of just gave it to him to see if he could snowball and run with it. But just like Spirit said, with the strong bot lane of Philios Thresh and then Nocturne TF, they just had really, really good 2v2s across the board, and we just couldn't match with the Viego, Kiana, and then Lucian Nami. So, but yeah, that's like my takeaway from the third game. So,
Yeah, I think like if in like a straight 2v2, Viego Kiana will beat TF Nocturne, but they just never gave that to us, right? So like I mean in that case like their 2v2, like you said, was better. Like they played around it better. We couldn't force fights, and it got to the point where the Aphelios got 4 items and he just outranges everyone, and we're just too far behind, and it's just like, well, we didn't get this early game lead, and they played with they capitalized on their mistakes very well. Um, yeah, I mean, what can I say?
I
They just
think there
played
was
better
a
that game.
moment of disrespect I saw. Your top laner's playing Mordekaiser, and he's facing Tom Kench, which is already a really hard matchup. Tom Kench has no bad matchups.
Hmm.
And Tom Kench
Yeah,
goes chains, first item, and insta hits it on Mordekaiser. So that's 30% less damage.
yeah,
hmm
And
I would agree.
Nightmare starts the fight.
yeah. I think they're just up in top lane hitting each other. You remember
I'm
that?
like, what is Nightmare doing?
Yeah, so the Mordekaiser, he was like, if they play Urgot again, like I can just pick me Mordekaiser here. Like, it'll stop the Urgot pick. Like I'm comfortable into it, and I just don't think. I think he just got a bit surprised by the anathemas. Like, it's kind of like if you're not looking at items, like you should be doing that. But if you don't, it'll surprise you. Like straight up, you're just like, wait, what?
Yeah,
Like,
his true
I sh
damage went down 50 points. I would kind
yeah.
of be like, whoa, wait a second.
Yeah, and so I think it was just like I think I was watching that a bit, and it's like maybe you ult first to try to get like a bigger lead, but like I think it was just a little disrespect, just like not understanding, and I think that can come from just like looking at items. It's just like, wait,
I
I can't, I
also
have to back
think
off.
that there was a missed opportunity when you guys picked the Kennen as well. I think it was that dragon fight where the Kennen had the perfect flank but didn't have ult up.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
feel as if he has ult there, which
Yeah, so
it's
I
not
think
something against him. It's maybe like he didn't buy the CDR item or something like that. But I won't blame the player for that. I'm just saying, in my eyes, I saw a 5-man Kennen ultimate that insta wins you that dragon fight.
yeah, I think
absolutely.
that was the second or third Drake. He's they start the Drake up. He has like 15 seconds left on his ult, and we're like, all right, we just got to stall. We'll just have him TP down, just to try to stall it and wait for the ult, scare him off. And I think yeah, if we are just like 15 seconds like left on that ult, I think that fight goes better. 15 seconds. Yeah, if the Drake's
I
15 seconds later, that fight goes different. But once the Kennen TP'd in, they played around it well. Um, again, like I think that a lot of this series was just them playing better around our picks than we played around theirs. Like the Twisted Fate shut down a lot of what we were trying to do, and that's why we banned it the second game, and things were better for us. But then they just first picked it, and we are just like, oh, we what, like thought they wouldn't do that. We were probably just going to ban the second rotation, and then they just first picked it, and we're like, well, they just got us there too. So I think
Yeah,
it was a little just like not really like, and on my part at least, like I just didn't think they'd do that. And yeah.
yeah, and I mean the first game to talk on that too. I mean we decided not to go front back comp with the Kennen Echo, more of a flanking comp, and later in the game we decided to front and back team fight them, which obviously they're stronger with Tristana's lead as well.
Mm.
And from there, game two we ended up switching it up to do more of a front to back, and Spirit woke up, decided to
Yeah,
play
yeah,
better.
I didn't. The first game, they jumped on me like 3 times while I was watching like top lane or mid lane or something. So I was just like, it just wasn't clicking in my head that like it's a Tristana, like you're a misfortune. Like if you're not paying attention, she'll just kill you. And it's just like happened like 3 times. I'm just like, what am I doing?
Yeah. So I think the second game more of a testimony to like how we can actually play as a team if we do front to back. Um, and they basically picked everything similar except for the TF and jungler, which I think Kazak's kind of troll. It's kind of a troll pick,
Yeah, he
competitive.
got ahead, but like it just didn't work out later.
No, yeah. So, and then I think game three we just like resorted back to how we were game one, in which it's not good, but I think we have a lot of improvement to do, but with better drafts and better communication, I think we'll improve from that. But they did play well though. We'll give them that. They played well. They played good around our picks, and I think they had really good team comps as well. So
hmm Like the Nocturne. I think this was the first two Nocturne, not Nocturne, Twisted Fate picks. Um, and I don't know if Slushy's been practicing that or if like he's just like something he's always had, but he played very well with that. And the team played around it very well too. Like they didn't you like you see TF and you think of these side lane plays, and they didn't do that as much, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because in this game like they used it mainly to stop plays we were trying to um, last time I played TF season 4. All right, well that makes me feel a bit worse. But they used it to like stop our plays, which is like they just pop it and like, oh, TF can be here. We gotta back off this skirmish or like, and so they used, and then they event the rest of their picks, kind of that gave like the Zac the ability to get some items. Like we weren't able to just perma keep the Zac down. Give the Urgot the time to get some tank. Gave Tristana time to scale. Like they used it less to like attack and more as a defense as a way to like bridge to which was I don't know if that was intentional, but they did it and it worked super well.
Okay, I don't think
That
we need to say anything else on this series, actually.
no, not really. I
Right.
think this series was a banger. 3 of the 4 series this week were bangers, which
Uh, yeah,
All right,
like
it's
I,
time we're gonna head over to Impact Plays. So, LLW versus the Revolution.
um, yeah. So
uh,
again, this is like kind of we had an issue with this last week, where it's like it wasn't a stream game, so all we got is
Final scorecards.
the scorecards. So like I don't know, like it's we kind of go off like damage and score and like vision score and CS and stuff like that. So um yeah, I mean, Mikey, what do you got? Like,
yeah, I'm so for me, I'm just going off all the stats that you just mentioned.
mhm,
I'd probably give the MVP to Soko for this series. And it's a difficult one. Like it could
mhm,
go to it could probably go to anybody on LLW if I'm being honest. It's one of those series, you know. But
mhm,
Soko's his kill participation every game was insane. It just his overall KP just barely beat out Stormblades, which granted he is a jungler. Uh, Otherwise I would have given it to Stormblade, but yeah, I'd probably just go Soko MVP, Stormblade under the radar. That's just for me. And then as far as MVP of the losers, I'm gonna go ahead and just give it to Dr. Aluro. I think he was the only positive KDA that game one, I believe,
mhm.
and game two he did decent considering how far down his team was. So, what do you guys got?
Um, I'd agree with the under the radar and whatnot. Or the winning and under the radar. Like again, it's hard to see, but they had the best KP and the best damage, best score lines. Um, in terms of Rev, again, it's kind of hard because we don't see this. Like we can't see the game. I think I'd give it to Donut. I think while Dr. Luro did have, he did have a decent score game one. I think Donut, it looked like to me at least on the Nocturne and the Trundle was like in
Doing
my
everything.
mind, he's the one like he died 9 times both games, but like in a game like this. in a series like this where you're
You
like
have to. Yeah.
you kind of have to like go for these plays. And again, like I didn't see it, but like I'm looking at it, I'm seeing 6, 6, 9, and 2. Like he's getting in there, he's trying to make kills happen. Like 5, 9, and 3, same thing. Um, and like in games like that where there's stomps, like you can give it to some people who are like doing all right, have good KDs, but like, is that really gonna win you the
Yeah.
game?
I actually agree. I actually agree with you. I might take back my pick because there's no bigger pet peeve to me than when your team is getting stomped and you look at, and then like your Syndra has a 1-0-3 scoreline in the mid lane. I'm like, get in these team fights and do something. Like you have 4 KP, you have no deaths, and we're getting
Yeah.
stomped. You're obviously like you're obviously not. You know, I'm not saying Doctor. That was not Doctor Aluro this game. I'm piggybacking off what you're saying. That
Mhm.
actually that is one of my biggest pet peeves. I would rather have a jungler who's running in there and kind of inting in a way, but trying to make the
No.
big plays happen.
No.
No?
KDA means everything.
I don't think so. I actually do not think KDA is the best determining factor of how well you did in a game. It's
Just-
up there.
I
It's like
agree.
top 5. It's top 5, but it's not number 1.
Yeah. So I think going like off on this a little bit, like I think it was Cadril who talked about it. Like he on his stream he was going over like pro players their OPGG, and you see their KDAs, they're like in the 2s. Like they're like 2 point, and it's just like, yeah, like this is how you play. Like you gotta play aggressive, you gotta like make things happen. Because in solo queue, like if you just sit back and do nothing, someone else is gonna snowball the game. So like you gotta try to snowball the game. And like I know this isn't solo queue, like it's team play. But like if it's not pro play, right? It's like a casual league, like I don't know what you want to call it, but like it's closer to solo queue than it
I
is
think we're
to pro play.
semi-pro tech. I think we're semi-pro technically. I need to
Sure.
check. But
Ah.
So like in my mind it's like you gotta get in there, you gotta make things happen. Like obviously you don't just like run it down, but like you gotta try to make things happen. I think like that goes for everyone. Not even like in winning games, like you gotta be the one to make things happen. And maybe that's you. It's not just you. It's like you and your jungler, your the ADC and the support. Um, so yeah, that's kind of what like especially on Rev right now. Like they're at the bottom. That's kind of what we got to look for. We got to look for the drive, the killer instinct to like make plays.
yeah. So should we? What do you guys think? Young Trendsetta and NitroDax. What do we think for MVP of the losers? I assume you guys kind of agree with the other MVPs, but if you don't, you know, let us know.
I agree with the MVPs and under the radar for sure. I think Selko played really, really well from what I see stat wise, and he
Yeah,
was
he
off champions.
get the
that's
highest
not com-
KDA,
Yeah,
or
and
not KD, highest KO participation. Sorry.
yeah, and he wasn't playing champions like he's normally known for, other than like maybe Olaf. But I think he played really, really well, and I think also Donut was a loser MVP. Just
So,
because,
who's the under the radar MVP? Is it Stormblade?
I give it to Storm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I will say I really liked your Callista. You have 18 assists as an ADC, which is very commendable. But I guess you all
Triggers.
have a ton of
Triggered.
assists. Triggered. But I guess you all have a lot of assists
It's
because that game
okay,
was
it's
just
okay.
a lot of fun.
As we say, it's a thigh high assist. That's why he has 7 kills.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Also, we are not a semi-pro league. Semi-pro
okay.
league means we are getting money.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
someone put
Amateur.
amateur. Yeah, amateur is good.
Oh, amateur. Yeah. I think I meant to say amateur. I'm sorry.
Okay, so GCA versus New York Mutants. MVPs. Boomba.
So I mean, this is kind of hard for me because it's like, I kind of think New York should have deserved to win the series, but they didn't. So we're giving 2 to GCA. I think Violet Cat played pretty well, game 3 especially, and then also 99 and Forever. So I would probably
I would
like
give it to 999
yeah,
as my
the game
series
2.
MVP. And
Yeah,
then
just
under the radar would go to Violet for me.
yeah. That's what I'm leaning. It's just like I look at the game 2. I'm like those two just I don't know what was going through their head, but the swap was just I don't know. I mean, I can't really hold it against them. The entire team didn't play super well that game. But yeah, I think Nine Forever played very well game one. The Casio shut a lot of things down. He used the ults very well, and he got, I think it was a couple like early game river fights that he carried. And then game three, he had like the hold. Like he helped hold the team, hold the Nexus, hold the base, which set him up for the win.
Okay. Anyone else that make a different case for series MVP and loser and under the radar MVP?
I don't think so. What?
No,
So what? Oh wait, what would you say MVP of the loser was? Donut, right?
No. Yeah, we
Donut
did.
on on Rev,
I
yeah.
already
Yeah,
updated
yeah.
it. Don't worry.
Okay, I was just. Well, I need to do it for the Alcove article. Jeez.
Yeah, sorry, Mr. Ryder. My bad.
So just let me know what our final picks are.
Yeah,
Well, I
yeah.
guess
So
I
I
can go to the
think-
document.
I think series MVP 999 Forever. The Violet Cup is the under the radar. I think the swap really hurts game two, and then the losers MVP. I think it goes to Hextex.
I would agree. That's who I was gonna say. as
Yeah,
well.
I was gonna say that too. I was gonna
Mhm.
say a different under the radar, but I'll leave. I was. I guess. I was. Wait. Did you guys bring up Mudkip yet? What I was typing.
No.
No, we didn't. Let's hear your argument.
I think he did pretty well this series. Like he had a slump game too, like everybody on his team did. But other than that, I wanted to put him somewhere. Maybe I'll give him a random award if we don't want to.
I don't think his game three justified him being the
Yeah.
under the radar
Yeah,
MVP.
maybe. Yeah, maybe not. But
Yeah.
who-
So
I mean,
in
he's
terms of
it's a
Mudkip,
40-minute game game, and he doesn't even have 20% of his team's damage.
yeah. And I agree. Game one, I think you could really make a case for under the radar. I think Nine Forever gets in game one.
I think
the
you did
MVP.
very well this series, Nubity. If there were two
Yeah.
under the radar MVPs, you would definitely get the second one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Or two
Um,
loser MVPs.
Well, I was about to say yeah. If there were two loser MVPs for sure.
I definitely think Nubity played this series well. I definitely think he played a lot better. Game one, it was interesting.
I mean, you look at game one and game two for each team. Like game one, it's like you can't really hold a single player accountable on New York, and same with game two on GCA. It's like everyone did just kind of.
I agree
Flopped.
the Vayne was a huge deciding factor at the end, but the reason that they even got that far in was because Echo kept them in the game for 39 of the 45 minutes.
Someone I do want to throw out for under the for losers. I do think Hextech played well. I think Solomon Khan also played very well. You have a 6-1-9 Olaf game in game two, and a 13-4-12 Nocturne game on game three. While he didn't do as much damage as the rest of the team, 16 and 19%, I think he set a lot of things up for the rest of his team to do all the damage. Like especially on the Nocturne, although it was a loss, he did pull them back from the deficit they had early. So I think that's another option for losers.
Yeah,
Nobody.
it's an option.
The Solomon and Hextech team with 3 Baron empowered super minions.
Funny.
3 Baron empowered super minions with
Nah, dude,
keyboards.
No, I think this team's actually really good. Mini Soko, Toad, and Nubity also just. I think they go off as well.
But
Yeah,
sure,
I mean
I
this
think
series
this
I
is
don't
the
think
most
it was.
well-rounded
Yeah.
team.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think this series you didn't see like it wasn't really as much of the Toad show as it has been, but like Toad's had some pop-off games.
Oh, yeah.
Same with Mini Soko. I think is like he doesn't. When I see it, he doesn't do as much as maybe like a Sunny D on his best day, but like he'll be up there and he's stable. Like you see games and he's like 2-0-12 or something. Like he's not dying, he's not throwing away kills. He's like participating. Not as much as like the jungler, but yeah, like he's holding down the top lane, which is really what you need. Just need a solid rock up there, not just making half the map unplayable for you. So I think like it's not flashy, but it's definitely very good.
Yeah, for sure. So what did we go with? Because we went with 999 Forever for the MVP, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
What
went
did
Violet
we?
Cap under the radar.
Yeah, I would say Violet Cat personally. Now that you guys talked me out of Mudkip, but but what do you guys think for
And
under
then
the radar?
losers is Hextex. Violet's under the radar, and series
Yep.
MVP is 990 forever.
All right,
Yeah.
as long as we're all in decent agreement.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
Yeah.
throw honorable mention at Solomon Khan, because I think he played very well.
I could definitely give him I usually in the article I give like random awards,
Mhm.
which I could give to.
Yeah, give him the SpiritTracks Under the Radar award, or
Yes.
the honorable mention award, or something like that. Yeah.
A solid rock.
I got it. I
rock
got you.
man, throw rock at face. Unga. Anyway, let's move on to GCC versus. Wait, no,
hate it.
TKK
No, I'm just
versus Tad. My bad. Sorry, I'm trying to push that series out of my memory. All right, so TKK versus Tad. My MVP is Fitsick. I really don't think there's an argument, but I will listen to arguments.
Maybe. Hold on. Just give me one.
Fit 6. Game 1, Game 3, very well. Like
Game
Game
2,
1,
it was the game that he was allowed to kind of play badly because he was the Nocturne. He was
Yeah.
going in a lot. He was all setting up a lot of easy kills for the Corki as well. So,
yeah, I can get on board with that.
They gave him his main. That was a mistake. How did
Yeah.
do you have anything, Young Trend? Do you
No.
agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. Just coming from a jungler's perspective, I think he played really, really well. And he was in a position where he could sacrifice himself to give his team an advantage with the Corki. So
I definitely give under the radar to Salto. I think he won lane every single game.
I think so
pretty
too.
handily.
I think for
Yeah.
Salto is under my radar. While I think Peels had a great game 1 and a decent game 2, Peels is mainly the reason they lost game 3. For Salto
yeah.
did decent and well in all of these games as well.
Thing I do want to say about Peel's Game 3, I don't think it was necessarily just him losing. I think definitely the Kennen play needed to like get like. So why I think they lost is because they just were like, oh, Urgot's side laning, let's just match him in the side lane, and you want to bring that Kennen into team fights. So while I do think that like Peels probably should have made that call, like let's team fight a bit more with Kennen, like Urgot gets side lane, like he gets a tier 2 tower, fine, we get 4 kills in the Baron or something like that. Well, yeah, I agree on you guys' picks. I think Peels probably doesn't deserve as much criticism in that game 3. I think it was more of a team decision not to pull him down. Because I think right, if Urgot's not there, you hard sweep the team fight. And you might eventually end up losing inhib, but like if you're playing it well, you'll get like a Baron, 2 Drakes, and probably your own inhib by the time he does that. If you play the team fights and the timings around waves well. But I do think Fitzik definitely MVP, and for Salto should be under the radar. I do want to shout out also in game 1, the sub on the Jhin played very well. He didn't really do much damage, but the CC and the follow up on the Jhin W's and the ults were also very good and helped secure a lot of kills.
Oh yeah.
High Lord
Okay.
Bahamut, yeah.
MVP of
David
the loser, I have.
getting a shout out. Or no, Dad. Dad gets
Dad.
a shout out. Let's go.
Hey, Dad's one of our subs. I feel like I'm the only one subbing for games, and then he filled in, and I was like, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So who is our losers MVP? I think
I
it's
have
Sunny
my
D.
pick, but see, I
No.
have my pick, but I don't know.
I
if you guys
will
have the-
fight against Sunny
Yeah.
D very hard this series.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would like to
think
hear
it's
the
dream to me.
argument.
I think it's dream to me personally.
I think it's dream to me as well. I would agree.
So my argument against Sunny is yes, he like solo won him the third game. I'd say he 85% of the reason they won the third game is because of him in the sideline. But I think 80% of the reason they lost game 2 was because he was in the side lane. And probably 80% of the reason they got so far behind game 3 was because he was in the side lane, just dying over and over again. Like I said at the beginning, like when we were talking about the Nocturne, I think they killed him maybe like 14 times in the side lane. I don't know, like out of 24 deaths. Like when you're playing Camille, you do want to play in the side lane. You will beat the Poppy, but if you're not respectful, you're just gonna throw over shutdowns, you're gonna throw over kills, you're gonna throw up pressure. And I think especially game two, his dying so much, like that was a pretty close game, right? The kills were pretty even, but just him dying so much left up so much map pressure, gave up so much map pressure to TKK that the rest of the team was on the back foot for most of the game. And like even if like straight like you don't take like the rest of the team into consideration in terms of like map pressure and stuff, I think he had the ability to carry that game, and the fact that he was just dying over and over again, like really made it so that he couldn't play, like he couldn't carry. Like, yeah, I mean, like I feel like he was one of the main reasons they were losing so hard the second and third game.
Yeah, I'd agree.
So,
And even though he
Dream
was
to
like,
Me, then?
I say Dream to me
I would say
personally.
Dream to me, yeah.
Yeah.
He finally, like, someone finally picked Lux. Like,
Yeah,
that
I think
screen is bonkers right now.
the Lux
Right.
pick game two was like I saw like 4 like massive Lux ults on like 3 people in corridors on top of E's, and like he was playing very well around the corridors and like the binds. And I mean again like I don't know why they put him jungle game 2 or game 3. But I mean he did all right.
Though. Yeah.
It wasn't great, but it was fine. And I'm like mainly looking at game 2 for this, but I think he played very well. Game 1 he was decent, like the Yon had a good ult or two. And game 2 like or game 3 like yeah like he's off rolling jungle, did all right. Just not yeah. But I mean I look at everyone else and I think they did things, but they just weren't as impactful or as like I don't know, like Dream to Me tried his best to salvage that game too. He was playing very well.
Okay. Then, I mean, it's 3-1 anyway, so Dream to Me automatically wins it. Okay, so GCC versus War. Winners,
what do you guys got?
MVP.
Well,
For me,
I
it's
have
Chorus.
I have Car. Yeah, I have
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
Cars.
Yeah, he kind of smacked me around a couple games.
Under the Radar is going to be more difficult though for me. I have like 3 names I want to put in there, but
So I would throw out Kapesk. I think in game 1, his early clear got demolished. Like I think like he lost his entire blue side. He didn't really do a whole lot in the early game just because we got the invade off and then we pressuring him. But he came back into that game and like was a big reason why they just kind of rolled team fights. In game 2, while the Kha'Zix wasn't super, I think the pick was bad in the late game. He did very well in the early game, and he got the I think it was like a triple kill after we won a fight mid lane. He got a triple kill, which secured them dragon and like stalled us off from like snowballing harder. And then game 3, I think the Nocturne really, like he had the early wraparound gank bot lane that caught us off guard, that set their bot lane up for a win. And then the Nocturne was very pivotal in the mid game fights, with like just showing up, turning off the lights.
Okay. Who is the under the radar MVP?
I want to give it to. Oh, go ahead.
For me, it's either Chief Patar or
That was going to be one. I want to give it to Patar so bad because he definitely deserves it, but I just don't respect.
It's
I
Chief
just don't respect
Patar.
Yumi as a champ.
Yeah, that's why I'm at. I don't respect Yumi at all.
I don't respect Yumi as a champion. I dreaded it being picked, but I will go ahead and give my fair dues to Chief Patar.
Yeah, you have to, whether you respect Yumi as a champ or not, I think he does deserve under the radar MVP, just based on the impact he had in the game. Not saying we respect the champ or anything he did on that champ, but
unless Young Trendsetter and Spirits have a different opinion.
So game 3, I think he's definitely like, if you under the radar, like he played very well on the Thresh. The reason like I don't like giving it to him for the Yumi is because when you see Yumi, like when I see Yumi in game, it just feels like it's just a piggyback champion, right? Like yes, you're doing things, but like what are you doing? You're sitting on the champion and pressing E when they get low.
Listen,
Um,
I understand it's El Critora,
I hate it.
and she's the parasite. Okay, I
I hate it so
understand.
much.
This is a Yumi hater giving props here to
Oh
Chief.
my God.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
we all
I think you guys are right. He played very well.
we all agree that like skill wise, it's Yumi is Yumi, but like at the same time, without Yumi in those games, their team does significantly worse. So you just have to give due where credit, where credit's due.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll give it to him because like anyone that's forced to play that champion should deserve it. Like you're
He
like,
probably
Was he
didn't even
forced?
want to.
Oh, he
Yeah.
was for. Oh my goodness. All
He
right.
was forced. Yes, he was
Oh,
forced.
okay. Oh my
yeah,
God.
he deserves it. Like I would not play 30 minutes of Yumi. Like I'd rather
Yeah,
All
play
right.
Traffic.
Now,
We gotta
who's
give
the
him his dues.
MVP of the losers?
let's see.
What do you two got? Since we determined, I think week one that like if you're in the game, your vote doesn't
Yeah.
count. You just have
Oh, okay.
to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, you could still have like a. Yeah, but I get.
I
what you're
mean,
saying.
I vouch for my teammates to get MVPs.
Yeah.
I just don't
This is
vouch
a-
for myself.
This
Yeah.
is actually a tough one for me because there's so many people on GCC that did well.
Oh, it's not for me.
It's not for me at all. I think it's YUNGTRENDSETTA.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I-
that's
I
true.
don't-
I'll
I
get.
don't
I'll give it
think-
to Young Trendsetter.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think
I-
that was
I-
pretty straightforward.
I-
Like
I don't think there was an argument there.
No, I was just. I had to re-look at the games. I was only on game 3 when I was.
Damn, Mikey, come on, man.
I need to
Disrespect.
relook at all the. I need to relook at all the games because I was just looking at game 3, and based on game 3, I was like, oh, I could give it to like 3 different people. Then I looked
Yeah,
at the other. Then I looked
game
at the other
3,
2 games.
yeah, it's pretty even. You look at the other two games, like game one is the only one doing well.
Yeah.
Like everyone, like people were doing okay things across the map, but he was the one like doing well. And then game two, you look at it's me and him, like pulling through on the like damage and scores, like, and then you also have Ares who was hitting 3 and 4 man Yone ults. But I think his sleeps and his I don't know, pressure on the Lilia was really what helped us get to that part, get to the part of the game where like the Aphelios, like, I mean, if all you got to do is position in an A click, and then you're gonna kill people. I'd say, yeah. So losers, I just give it to him,
Yeah.
straight up.
I'm fine
like-
with that. I
Alright.
didn't. Now that I'm looking at it all, yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty straightforward.
Whoopsie. Okay, I've really pointer. Okay.
Dude, the crab's moving.
The
He's
crab's
scuttling.
moving. Oh my god, he's running towards me. All right.
Oh, no.
So, power rankings. I think we're gonna
yeah.
just say our 3 power rankings, because I would like
Yeah.
to go cook some chicken before the night is over. It's already dusk outside. Okay, so my power rankings, I have LLW 1, TPP 2, GCA 3.
Hmm.
For me, I am high on the New York Mutants copium.
Oh, he's on the copium.
I'm on the
I
copium.
wouldn't even call it copium, like straight up. I give it like hopium.
I think it's
Like,
hopium. I
yeah.
think game 4 is. I think the game 3 is like 9 out of 10 times they win that. So
Mhm.
I have them at 4th. I have Wardens at 5th. I have GCC at 6th. TKK, TAD, Revolution.
Mhm.
I think.
Mine are
Every-
a bit different, but yeah, fair enough.
I think everyone agrees. TKK, TAD, and Rev are 10, 7, 9, 8.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. And yeah, I think like we've been the same top 3, I think, for the entire entire season so far. I think, yeah, Mikey, I think you're the same, right?
Yeah, I've had the same
Oh.
top 3 and the same bottom 3 the entire season.
Yeah, so
TAD might have started at 6. No, they were 7. Yep, I had the same top 3 and same bottom 3.
yeah, so I think the contentious points we got here are 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Nitro, you had NYM, War, GCC. Mikey, what do you have?
Mikey has LLW, TPP, GCA, War 4th, GCC 5th, New York
Although-
6.
I could switch around GCC and New York Mutants, but I don't want to do that to you guys with you guys on the podcast. Plus, I
Hey,
really want
do it to us straight up.
Let Young Trendsetter feel like he's being disrespected.
Yeah.
I'm just.
It fuels
Yeah.
us.
Oh, it
Winnable.
feels okay. I'll do it. I'll fuel your rage here.
All right, Mikey said it first. Warden's 4th in the power rankings.
Yeah. I don't
so-
know. We'll have to figure out a way to combine these two for the article because I always do an average of all of our power rankings.
I know.
Mhm.
Alright,
So
Spirit.
my thoughts on this. So again, 1 through 3 and 7 through 9, pretty straightforward. I think NYM 4th, and then we talked a bit about this before we went live. My thing is when I do think like if you, in my opinion, we're better than War, but like you look at the season. And I mean, you look at the last game, right, or the last series. They beat us. They played better than us. And we've only played 5 games. Like we had a bye and we had 2 games against Rev. So you haven't really seen, like, no one's really seen much of us, of GCC, while we have seen War. And so I think if you look at the
man.
season,
Sorry,
look at the
I'm
season-
reading the chat and they're saying, Cars is saying nice copium.
oh, it's hardcore copium. It's hardcore copium. This is like, this is the TL can get out of groups copium that I had in week 1.
Oh.
Hey, they almost did. Come on.
I almost did.
Yeah,
Come on.
yeah. So all right, but I think we've seen more from War. They had the bad week 1. It's week 1. They're getting used to it. They stepped up week 2. That was against TAD, a lower team. So and then you have this last series against us where they played a lot better than we did in game 1 and game 3. And so I think when you just look at the season, they're definitely ahead of us. But copium, lots of copium. I will admit to that.
Hardcore copium.
Hardcore
Alright.
copium. I still think we end up higher than them.
And
But right-
as the dust
Yeah.
settles.
Oh
yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
We love a
So-
humble king.
So right now, I agree with Nitro's power rankings, but with the asterisks that we will end up higher than War,
Okay.
maybe even NYM.
Okay.
sure,
That's
sure.
okay. Nice.
All right. So well, that's the tiebreaker. So I'll put in the article NYM at 4th then.
I'll run it.
Rematch right
You want a
now.
rematch? I'll run it right now.
Okay. Come on.
Come on.
Dude, I'll see you in
New
finals.
rival. Hey, new
Hey,
rivalry.
what? You gotta
Now,
get past us.
W drops to War in semis, and TPP drops to us in
Oh
semis.
my
Oh.
god.
This is it.
This is the
it, boys.
hardest copium
Wait.
I've ever heard in
I'm-
my
I'm-
life.
Let me
I'm-
get the script.
Oh.
Let me get the script.
Guys,
This
I'm
is-
inhaling the copium
The
so hard.
script is that LLW wins season 2. Sorry, that's a leak. All right.
No.
All right.
All right.
Alright. Then we
Trent,
get
what you got?
LLW 2.0,
We got this.
where we all get the best players and we go play for money. Sorry, was I supposed to leak that yet? Oh yeah, by the way, this is a good question for the podcast. Do you think we should take the best players from every team and go and compete for money? I know that there's a monthly tournament coming up that the winning team gets $1,500.
My thoughts on this is an amateur league, so like in terms of like the league sponsored, I think it's like no, not really, but I mean like if people want to do that, like
Dude,
um
I'm-
No,
I'm
like
cool.
we would
I'd be
like
totally
we
fine
would
with
be
people-
like, yo, you guys are representing us. Go ahead.
I mean
Yeah. I'd be totally fine with people doing that. It's just I know for those like $1,500 tournaments, you're probably going against full challenger teams, which
yeah.
I mean,
We
good
could
luck.
do it like minimum. The problem is as well is that we have so many high class mid laners as
Yeah.
well.
You don't even know what of the top 3 mid laners to put. For
I
me, I, don't
think
know
you
which
put-
of the top 3.
I think Storm starts, but you can make an argument for Wyke. And you can
Or
make an argument
forever.
forever as well.
Yeah. The mid lane would be sketchy, but yeah.
yeah, when I think about
Mid lane-
it, it's like
Is interesting. ADC, I think it's isoscaline.
I would agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just when I look at it, it's like I don't know, the idea of like selecting people was like I mean obviously like we're creating power rankings and all this and like I don't know, it just I'm not huge on the idea just because it feels like you're taking like in I guess this is why I wouldn't want to do it like be on the team. You're taking like an amateur thing like for fun thing and you're like making it like competitive and I guess some people would want that which is why I think it could work. But like I think a lot, in my case at least, that's why I am kind of opposed to it, just because I see this as a like a for fun kind of thing. And while I'm
Yeah.
sure other people don't, um, and in that case, then I think it's a good idea for them if they want to do it. Um, and yeah,
I think it'd be like an all-star sort of thing, like how the NBA has it.
Yeah, that's
Just
what it
do
would
like
be.
an all-star, and you just
It'd
see
be our
how.
Like all of our all stars that we think really like played their hearts out. I would like go there because, I mean, top lane is interesting. We would decide on who to go top lane.
I honestly think we should have like a big vote, like who would be the all-star representatives for each position.
I
You know what
Yeah.
I
I
mean?
like that. I like that
Yeah.
idea.
I think
Yeah.
we would have to pick the tournament carefully, though. I don't want to put like our best 5 players in a challenger tournament. I think,
yeah.
you know, but I'm down for an all-star team. I think I think people would get behind that.
Yeah, I think that is a good idea. Like end of year voting, like everyone just like who thinks played the best. And then I think yeah, you open up options. Like
But
if people
yeah,
want to do it, then they can do it. Like
this league
um
is for sure for fun, though.
yeah.
SpiritTracks, you're completely right. Like that, we would not want an all-star thing to make this league any less fun or any.
Hmm.
Yeah, I get what you're saying for sure too.
Yeah, but I mean if people are on board, like I think it's a good idea. Like if that's what people want to do for fun and like that makes the league more exciting for them, like I think it's a good idea. It's just I think it's should be I mean it's obviously going to be optional for those people. Um, I think it's more of like it's less of a I don't know. The way I would see it's like less of a league, like part of the league and more of like a reward. Like I don't know how to explain it, but like yeah, I mean yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, as far as I don't know if we're ready to move up to matchup of the week, but I think we kind of already answered that earlier.
I think that was
I-
offline though.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
was
was
that offline?
offline.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Matchup of the week is War versus TPP.
Yep,
Yeah.
Agreed.
that's a good one. That'll be
Yeah.
a really good.
So I was kind of talking about saying this earlier. It's like you I think the two series did I say this earlier on I think it was live when I was talking about TKK versus GCC. Like if we really want to see how TKK like if are they like pushing for like playoffs or are they like a bottom three team like matchup versus us GCC is really going to determine that. And again, like we don't really see a whole lot about GCC. We haven't seen a lot of GCC, so like, and we have kept GCC ranked pretty high. Um, so is that just copium, or like do we deserve to be up there? But in
Well, now
terms
you
of like,
took a huge loss in the power rankings.
yeah, yeah.
Not
In
really.
terms
but
of like, I mean, yeah, but in terms of like actual like good games, like high quality games, TPP #2 team we have, and War uh, pumped up to #4, #5. I think I do think War played very well against GCC, and so if they can keep up that level of play, I think they can really bring it to TPP. And I think we said like this could be a game that TPP loses. So I think like this could knock if War wins, this could knock TPP down maybe a peg or two. Maybe Scalene, we can clip that no post in chat and just spam post it and shit posting. But or trash talk.
Just like Scalene
Yeah.
clipped me saying Nautilus is free Grandmaster. Like,
Yeah,
there
yeah,
was more to that argument as well. I think Scalene is a very good player. I think he's
Mhm.
really good at punishing bad ADCs as well. I think that's why he's the rank he is, because he
Mhm.
understands how to punish.
Yeah, and so I think the Yumi, like if we look at the Yumi especially, I think ISO and Scalene will do a better job at punishing that than we did. And so I think that if Wartrust agreed with that this week, they might run into some issues. We'll see. Because their bot lane played pretty well versus us. But if we see how they play against Grandmaster support, like a higher level bot lane, that can really I don't know, consolidate, solidify their bot lane skill, like in our eyes, I guess.
Yeah. So we're basically going War versus TPP, and then under the radar GCC versus TKK.
Why do we
Yeah.
need an under the radar game of the week?
Yeah, I do it in the
We
article.
do it for everything.
Oh my
Yeah, I
God.
do it in the article.
Under the radar breakfast options.
Yeah, breakfast.
Oh, under the radar breakfast options, waffles.
Waffles.
I think they're overhyped. They're not level 1 or tier 1. I think they're still good. I also want to touch on. Okay.
Scones. I love
Scone-
scones.
They're too dry.
Nah, you haven't had good
waffle-
scones.
Mm,
Yeah.
Yeah,
if
yeah,
only they
oh.
added a hydration check for scones.
In terms of the other two games, we got Rev versus GCA. I think GCA is definitely the weakest out of the top 3. So if Rev can show up a bit more against them than they did against TPP and LW, if they can like pull off what they did to us in game 2, I think it'd be harder for GCA to come back. So I honestly think Rev, if they step up, they can take a game off there. And then in terms the first game, TAD versus New York Mutants, I think if TAD, I don't know, like straight up just gets their shit together, they can make it more of a competitive series. Maybe just play for fun that series if that's working out. But I think if New York Mutants wants to stay up in the leaderboard, they should probably 3-0 this. Or in the power rankings, should probably 3-0 this. I think it wouldn't be hard for them to 3-0 this.
All
Yeah,
right.
for sure.
I think we got everything we needed to.
Mm-hmm.
Very quiet guest this week, Mr. Young Trendsetter. Do you have any final thoughts?
Just know that when you play GCC, it's jungle diff every game. So good luck.
Good
I'd
luck.
retweet that. I'd retweet that.
Yeah? So, Oh yeah, that's right. You had a bye week too. So what happened
Mhm.
against War?
Jungle diff.
Jungle diff.
Jungle
Ah.
diff. Okay.
No, when we lose, it's bot diff. When we win, it's jungle diff.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
Okay. I got you. All right. Thank you all for joining us. Even though my voice sounds horrible, I still appreciate all of you coming here. I am Mr. Glorsnax, joined by the ever so lovely red suit man, corn lover Mikeypooh, joined by the top CS per minute ADC, Mr. SpiritTracks,
Rank
And the-
1. Rank 1.
rank 1.
Rank to Stormblade.
Rank 1 ADC.
I want to
rank-
keep that there.
Rank 1 ADC.
So when I
ISO
int,
Square is
just
a
know-
rank 2 ADC, as he said earlier.
When I int, I am rank 1.
Get
Still
better,
rank 1.
I will. Alright, and I'm joined by the best jungler here. I will get better, so
Is that
don't
it?
worry.
Is that all the accolades? Just best jungler?
Best
Just
jungler and MVP of a
That's all.
series.
Losers MVP.
Losers. Yeah.
Losers
Yeah.
MVP.
Just
Oh,
gotta
no,
keep the ego
You're
in
an
check.
under the radar MVP.
Hey,
Oh, he was that too, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Loser and under the radar MVP one time.
One time.
There you go.
we
One
go.
time. I will get better, Sushi. If you've read the discussions, I've won. I'm plat now. I don't know if I want to keep playing this dog shit game though. Sorry, no cursing. Poo poo head game. I will get better health wise. I'm gonna go gargle some salt water. ISO Square, you will be able to fight for your number 1 position. Last week I think.
Week 8.
Yeah, week 8.
Then you can take it from me.
Yeah, there you go. So if you want it, you gotta take it from his cold dead head. Oh, you have a higher CS per minute?
I'm still better,
Wait.
Copium. I'm still better, Copium.
Okay. I'm saying number 1 ADC ranked by my mid laner.
Copium.
Okay. Thank you everyone for I have your mother, idiot. Okay. Let's
thanks
go
for
ahead.
having me, guys.
All right.
Yeah, of course.
Have a good one. Stay safe. Please do not pull a Mikey.
How dare you? I don't even know